So UFC Fight Night Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy took place last night, and I'm going to be going through the key points of the card, not the entire card, because in my opinion the card is pretty dog shit and there's not that much to talk about. So we're going to go through the main event in Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy, the two other big key takeaways in my opinion from the card, and finally we're going to end the video on, did everyone else see what the UFC leaked during this card? Let's start off with Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. This was not the matchup. Well, it wasn't the matchup I predicted because I thought Josh Emmett was going to KO Lerone Murphy, but that was my mistake because I was putting so much trust in Josh Emmett being able to crack Lerone Murphy because we just seen Dan Ige the fight before crack Lerone Murphy and drop him, and I thought, well, if Dan Ige is going to be able to do that, then imagine when Josh Emmett lands on him, he's going to put him out cold. But the big difference being is Dan Ige is a lot quicker than what Josh Emmett is, to be honest, and Lerone Murphy, these things happen, people do get caught in fights, so it might have been that scenario. I think Lerone Murphy is really, really good in my opinion. Finally, this guy is getting put up the rankings, well deserved as well. This guy is now on a 3-fight win streak, beating Josh Emmett, Dan Ige and Edson Barboza. He is undefeated now in the UFC. I think he should be looking to names like Aljamain Sterling, just off the top of my head, a Brian Ortega. I think those names should be guys that Lerone Murphy should be looking to take on next. He's very similar to like a Leon Edwards. Bruh. What I mean by that is he doesn't really excel anywhere, in my opinion. Like, it's not like, oh fuck, you can't stay on the feet with Lerone Murphy, he's just too good, or flip, you cannot let this guy get a hold of you, because if he takes you down, you won't get back up. He's such a submission threat. I personally don't see that in Lerone Murphy's game, but what I do see is a very, very well-rounded fighter in every department. He might not excel specifically in any category, but there's not like a massive hole in his game either, in my opinion. Maybe his lack of finishes, that might be something, but overall, the guy does fight extremely well. I thought this fight was 4-1 easily to Lerone Murphy. I seen this guy here saying Josh won that fight and everybody knows it. He obviously was watching that fight with his eyes shut. Just wasn't the case. I give Josh Emmett round number 1, and then the rest of it I give to Lerone Murphy. I thought that was a good performance from him. I put too much stock into Josh Emmett being able to land that big shot, and it just didn't happen. Lerone Murphy stayed defensively sound in there. He done a lot of really good work. Like I said, what should be next for him is the likes of an Aljamain Sterling or a Brian Ortega. I was maybe thinking of a Movsar Evloev, but Evloev should be fighting for the belt next. I don't think he should have to have another matchup, in my opinion. I think the winner of Diego Lopez, Volkanovski, should be facing Movsar Evloev next. I know a lot of people don't like Movsar. The guy's fight style is absolute dog shit, I understand. However, he is deserving of it. He was arguably more deserving of it over Diego Lopez. Let's not forget, Movsar does have a win over Diego Lopez. Now, I know that was under certain circumstances. Diego took the fight on short notice. It was his UFC debut, etc. So there are things around that fight that you can maybe argue why Diego Lopez in a full camp would beat him. But nonetheless, Movsar got the job done in that fight. I think Lerone Murphy, Aljamain Sterling, UFC, 316, the Sean O'Malley Merab 2 card. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. I don't think Lerone Murphy took a lot of damage in there, so hopefully he can get back in there soon. I know Aljamain Sterling has called the fight on that card, and that makes sense. It means him and his teammates can train together, fight on the same card. So maybe if Lerone Murphy's looking to get another big name on his resume, there's the perfect opportunity. Moving on, like I said, the guy's in a 3-fight win streak. There's not a lot of finishes on his record, if we're being honest, but the guy is very technically sound in there, and he's just winning. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. For example, like a Movsar, the guy is boring as hell. I don't think Lerone Murphy's boring in any way, but obviously we all like to see the big finishes, the knockouts, the submissions, stuff like that, but that just isn't a part of Lerone Murphy's game at the minute. He's just a very technical fighter, very similar to Leon Edwards in my opinion. Let's move on to this right here. This is the key takeaway. Rhys McKee, let's fucking go. Rhys McKee, whoa. Rhys McKee getting his first win in the UFC against Daniel Fuenza. Let's not forget, Rhys McKee was a big underdog going into this matchup. Rhys McKee has kind of had a really hard career in the UFC. Obviously, first time around, he got Hamzat Chimaev, then Alex Morono, who's a veteran. His last fight was against Nusukwan. Oh fuck! What was his? I actually can't remember. Fuck, who was his last fight? I can't remember, but I know it was close anyway, and he came on well in the third round. Regardless, though, there was a lot on the line for Reece McKee. I know if people have watched his social medias and his interviews, especially when he done with Paul Craig, he was saying he didn't have much to lose. I think he had a lot to lose in this fight, but he delivered. Reece McKee delivered, finally showing the UFC what everyone knew this guy was capable of outside of the UFC in his Cage Warriors days. Reece McKee came out there straight on the gas, looking to hurt Daniel Fuenza, and I actually didn't realise Reece McKee has that punch power. He dropped Daniel Fuenza 4 times in there. Now this just goes to show how tough Daniel Fuenza is as well, to keep getting back up and pushing the pace, because he also was landing on Reece McKee. Reece McKee showed how good he was in there, and showed that he also has a really good chin as well. Dropping Fuenza 4 times in there, shutting his eye pretty much. His eye was swollen badly, busted up his lip. That's how he got the TKO victory. Reece McKee ended up cutting his lip, kind of like Alistair Overeem, if you remember, in the Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight. That's why the fight was stopped, because of that. I thought Reece McKee was very unlucky not to get Daniel Fuenza out of there. I don't know if it was maybe emotions got the better of him in there, because it kind of looked like when he dropped Fuenza, if he had took his time and maybe picked his shots, he probably could have got him out of there, but maybe excitement just took over his body, because, this is a big moment for him. There was a lot on the line in here to get his UFC win, his first UFC win. And I think now that we have seen this version of Reece McKee, honestly, and this might be glazed because I am from where Reece McKee's from. Well, he's from Ballymena. We're from the same country, so this might be a bit biased on my behalf, but I think this guy can be ranked in the UFC's welterweight division. This guy's got great scrambles. He's a really good striker, really powerful, like we just seen in this matchup. He will beat you up. This guy's so tough and durable as well. Great win, and what a well-deserved bonus for Reece McKee. Nice to see that this will have such a positive effect on Reece McKee's life. Not only did he get his show and win money, he got the big bonus as well. This can only help him prove him as he goes on in his career, and he's still pretty young as well. I think Reece McKee will be looking to break into the top 15 by the end of the year. This, again, might be biased because I'm from the same place as the guy, but this right here was the best moment on the card. Let's not waste much time on this, because this was absolute horse shit.
Well,
Torres Finney on his UFC debut. Ass, really, really ass. Not much to show from it there. There really isn't much to talk about. As you can see, there's someone saying cut both of them. Obviously, Torres Finney had a tough road to the UFC. I mean, he was in the Contender Series for 3 fights in there. It's not a fun fight style. It's not a fun way to win a fight. There wasn't much. There really isn't much to talk about here. Disappointing, because this guy had so much hype coming into this matchup. A lot of people were rooting for him. It's not as if he lost, but it kind of feels like he got a loss because of the performance. It really, really wasn't good. Like, it's not what you want to see from someone on their UFC debut that does have this bit of hype. But hopefully he's got that nerves out of his system now. I know he's fought in the Contender Series 3 times, but this is his debut in the UFC. Hopefully now he's shaking all those nerves. He knows what it's like to be in there. Obviously, the fighting in the Apex and fighting in front of a crowd might be a bit different, so maybe the nerves thing doesn't make sense, because he would have fought in here in the Contender Series quite a lot. So maybe get rid of that last point, and maybe we should just shit on his performance because it was ass. But hopefully he can make the correct adjustments and improve for his next fight. Didn't take any damage in there, really. Hopefully we can get him back in there ASAP and keep developing these new talented big-ish names in the UFC. Let's keep pushing the sport forward, getting new guys in divisions to keep these divisions going, because there's a lot of divisions in the UFC right now that are becoming very stale, in my opinion. And finally, who's seen this? Now, I do not know how to speak Spanish, right? But what this post is saying to me right here is Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, UFC Noche. That's what I'm thinking here. UFC Noche is set to take place in September, which is a long wait for Ilia Topuria. Maybe the Noche UFC thing has nothing to do with it. I know they announced it and they're finally taking that Noche event to Mexico, which was like the most obvious thing that they should have been doing anyway. I don't know why they had the event in the Sphere last year. If you're celebrating a Mexican holiday, take the fucking card to Mexico. It's not rocket science. But if this is right, and if this is the route they're going to go, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, happy days. If we're not going to get Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, then this is the next best thing, if we're being honest. And this is a great fight for Ilia Topuria. I think stylistically, Oliveira does pose a lot of problems for him, but in my opinion, you might call me an Ilia Glazer, I think Ilia stops Charles Oliveira inside 2 rounds. So yeah, let me know your opinions on UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. Thanks for the support as always, and I will see you again in the next one.